if it were not for the greenhouse gases, the Earth would be 33 Celsius colder, and life could not be here. So the greenhouse gases are necessary for life, and CO2 is necessary as a food for life. They're two completely different things. CO2 is also a greenhouse gas as well as being the primary food for all life. But the most important point is there is no historical evidence that CO2 causes the temperature of the Earth to change in any way. None whatsoever. You can look at the historical evidence in the glacial periods. You can look at the historical evidence back 500 million years ago. And the ice ages, for example, when the Earth gets cold, have nothing to do with the CO2 levels. Sometimes there's an ice age when CO2 is very high, sometimes there's one when it's very low, and vice versa. Sometimes they go in completely opposite directions for tens of millions of years. While CO2 goes up, temperature goes down, and while CO2 goes down, then temperature goes up. This is in the historical record. The only evidence that CO2 causes warming is in computer models that are built to say it does. People don't realize that computer models are not a crystal ball that can predict the future. There is no such thing as a crystal ball. It is a mythical object, like reading your palm, right? And trying to tell the future by reading your palm. A computer model, you put your assumptions in it, and what your assumptions are come out the other end of it. It's based on what you assumed was the correct number. And they just assume that CO2 will cause warming, so they put that in the computer, and of course the computer shows warming. But just because CO2 is going up now and temperature is going up now in this modern warm period does not mean there is a cause-effect relationship between the two. And the only times there seems to be a cause-effect relationship between the two is when temperature drives CO2, not the other way around.